For today's color therapy, I will be working with yellow. Yellow is a joyous and radiant color. It exudes warmth, inspiration, and vitality. It is the happiest of colors. Yellow signifies communication, enlightenment, sunlight, and spirituality. If your treasured color is yellow, you look forward to the future. Intellectual, highly imaginative, and idealistic. You have a cheerful spirit and an expectation of greater happiness. The positive is emotional cheerfulness, energy, honor, joy, intelligence, optimism, confidence, emotional strength, extroversion, and friendliness, and creativity. The negative sides are irrationality, jealousy, anxiety, depression, fear, emotional fragility, deception, cowardice, and caution. Effects increase mental activity, awareness, and energy. Hello, beautiful and magnificent beings. How are you? Welcome to Energy and Light Awakening. It's come to my attention that more than usual, it seems that many of you are going through some really difficult situations. You're very depressed, rock bottom, literally. I've been receiving more comments and personal emails about this than I normally do. I mean, yes, from time to time, but lately there's just something going on. Maybe it's the energy shifts, but if you just come here because you're feeling a little sad or depressed, this video can definitely help you. But for those of you that are really, really suffering and at the end of your rope, I've created this specifically for you. And I'm going to share some of the things that I have used and continue to use. I want to help move you forward, to lift you up, to help you get out of this feeling of darkness, this feeling of not having any control, feelings of loss, depression, and possibly not wanting to be here anymore. And I know if you're familiar with my videos, I might not seem like someone who would know anything about that, but I assure you, the person you see before you now is because of all the work that I've done, which, as I said, some of it I'm going to be sharing with you. But back in the early 2000s, I was at rock bottom. Literally, I did not want to be here anymore. I had had enough. I was miserable, depressed, lonely, just you name it. I was there. I didn't care anymore. I was literally starting to give up, but fortunately I didn't. And there's so much more to life than we know, than we see. And I just want to urge and help you to get up out of this. Please don't ever give up. There's so much more out there. There's so much beauty. There's so much love. There's so much to be happy for. And again, I know this is a difficult time and we struggle, but it is worth the struggle. And remember, there's never anything wrong with asking for help. This was an issue I had as well that made it really difficult for me because I felt embarrassed or ashamed, or I felt unworthy, that I didn't deserve help, but none of this is true. And when you ask for help, that means that you haven't given up. So this is a wonderful thing. So I have a list of some of the things I've written down that I think will be helpful. But before we do that, let's start with, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to show you. Let's start with some blessings. Blessing our space, welcoming the presence of all that is. Reiki masters, ascended masters, spirit and animal guides, benevolent beings of the highest truth and compassion. We invite and welcome this energy that supports our most empowered and aligned selves. And so it is. Okay, so I've made a list. I want to share some of these things that I think will be helpful. I'm going to be talking more than I normally do, so you might want to grab something to drink or a little snack. Okay, so first thing, starting in the morning when I wake up, before I get out of bed, I like to practice something called loving the body. And if you're familiar with my channel, I think everything on this list I've talked about in other individual videos, but I'm just bringing it all together now to give more options for you. Now, this may sound a little strange or weird, but the first time I tried this, I was blown away. It sounded a little strange to me. I was watching a channel the first time I heard about it, and this person was saying how they would spend time on certain areas of their body, or they would just talk to the body and tell it how much they appreciate it or they love it and how grateful they are for what it did for them. And I thought, okay, this is weird, but at that time I was at the end of my rope. I'm still recovering from a back injury. It's been over 15 years now. And I had reached a point that I just felt like I wasn't making progress. I didn't know what to do. I was depressed and upset constantly. And I saw that video. And later that night, I went outside. It was summer. It was a beautiful dark night with stars. And I just remember standing there and thinking and talking and asking my body, I don't know what to do for you. I'm trying everything. You know, I'm worried. I'm sad. I'm depressed. I don't know what you need. Can you help me? And immediately I heard a word so loud. It was almost like someone yelled into my ear. And the word, it makes me a little emotional, sorry. Can you guess what that word was? Love. How sad is that? You know, my own body had to ask me for love. I had just been pushing and doing all of these exercises and physical therapy and just you name it. I wasn't listening to the body. I was just trying to force and push. And also, I've never taken time to appreciate my body. I always thought of myself as my body, but we are separate. And this helped me communicate as well, realizing, you know, this is just a vehicle. I am not my body. And so it became a very powerful, powerful healing tool for me that I use to this day. Talking to your body. So in the morning, the first thing I do, I like to start with just a little tapping on the face or around the eyes, and then I'll like run my nails over my scalp, and then I'll start rubbing my hands and just up my arms and maybe doing a little tapping, just getting the blood flowing, some circulation. And then I'll work down from the chest, the sides, the back, all the way to my feet. And while I'm doing this, I'll talk to my body. I'll talk to the areas I'm touching. Thank you so much, my hands. Thank you for always holding and grabbing, carrying and picking up. Because imagine what your life would be like if you couldn't do that. And also, you know, I'll thank my bones and my organs. And again, it is just so powerful. And you will be amazed at how your body responds. Like you will instantly feel energy and positivity starting to lift you up. And sometimes throughout the day, if I'm feeling a little tired or if I've like really pushed myself to do something, I'll take a moment and place my hand on my heart and to say, thank you, my body. Thank you so much for coming back to me from this traumatic injury. Thank you for all that you do for me and, you know, coming through for me on a daily basis. Okay, and another, the next thing on the list, I don't want to drag this out too long, so I'm going to try to talk a little faster. Starting your day, it's called priming. I actually have a little folder on my computer that just says morning priming. And I have that folder filled with my favorite videos. It could be some type of inspirational motivation, affirmations, a beautiful piece of music, something that really speaks to you and moves your soul. This is important, not just some random thing. And I also have one that's just for humor. Like I have some animal videos, and also something else that's very powerful that you can add to your morning routine. There's several experiments you can, I'm actually putting links of all these videos to help you below. And it's a laughing experiment. You probably heard of it by now or saw some, where an individual, they're secretly recording and no one knows about this. And some of them take place on a bus or a train. And it's just a group of people sitting quietly, nobody's talking. And then all of a sudden, a man starts laughing just a little bit, and then eventually it gets hysterical, and everybody on that bus or train starts laughing. Like, I have not been able to watch a video and not laugh. I mean, laugh, it just makes you feel so good. So this is another tool. Meditation, this is another thing. I'm going to put 2 of my favorite meditations, guided meditations that I'm doing right now that are so powerful. I am blown away at the improvement, how much they've helped. But this is for another video. And they're by Joe Dispenza. So please look into those. Moving your body. This is another thing, whether it's exercise, yoga, just standing up and shaking and moving. And if you've ever seen a Tony Robbins video or seminar, you know every 30 minutes or so he's got everybody up jumping to this music and dancing, and that will boost your energy as well. So some type of movement. And it helps as you're building this little toolbox or this folder, keeping all of these things in it for your daily routine. Make sure that it's something you look forward to. I know sometimes, especially when we don't feel good, we don't want to do this. But eventually, as you start to get used to it or program your body and your mind, it's something that you will look forward to, and that will automatically raise your energy as well. Just a quick little side note I forgot to add. This might be obvious to some of you, but it was not to me, because when I first started doing these routines, I was only doing it on the days that I felt bad. I had no one to talk to about this. I was learning all this stuff from YouTube channels, so I didn't have that opportunity to share what I was doing with anyone to get advice. So this is something you want to do every day, not just the days that you don't feel so great, because it's training your body and your mind. You're reprogramming yourself. And even on the days that you might feel absolutely spectacular, just like you can always feel worse, you can always feel better. So get in the habit of doing these things every single day. And the next thing, I'm sure you're probably sick of hearing about this, but diet. And most of us know by now, you know, what's good, what's not so great. But I want to go a little deeper. It's not just about eating healthy. There's 2 things that I really notice, 2 emotions. Like when we're feeling depressed, we might be just, you know, heavy, dense. We don't want to move. So I would recommend, when you're feeling like that, try eating lighter. And I'm not saying change your whole diet, but just try some different things. Maybe eat more fruits and vegetables. Something that I did when I first started doing this, for about 7 days in a row, my breakfast was a particular smoothie. There's studies that show that lemon juice is a mood enhancer, but not many people can just drink it straight. It's really harsh. So what I've created, you want to juice an entire lemon, a cup of mango, some raw ginger, not too much, enough that you can taste it, but nothing overpowering, and then raw honey. This is really important. You want raw, real honey. You don't want that syrupy fake stuff. You want to stay away from sugar. And drink that on an empty stomach, and within a few minutes you'll notice your mood starting to lift. Now, if you're in the opposite end, like if you're really wound up and anxious and nervous and just bouncing off the walls, and you want to eat something heavier, Like, I used to be a vegan. I'm not any longer. It took me over a year to recover from that diet. It really messed me up. But if you're someone who doesn't eat meat, I would say potatoes is definitely a very heavy vegetable that'll help bring you down. But maybe for a couple days, just eat heavier, add potatoes, maybe eat chicken. I don't eat red meat or pork. I only eat fish and chicken now. But I will eat like heavier, maybe instead of chicken breast, use chicken thighs, and then some potatoes, heavy vegetables, something that'll help bring you down and settle you. Okay, let me see. Oh, and of course, since we're talking about food, water. Water is so important. We need to stay hydrated as much as possible, but it can be difficult, especially if you're not used to drinking water. Something that's really helped me, I want to show you. I always have this with me in front of me. It's sort of like an adult sippy cup. I have lemons and oranges. I mean, it's limitless, whatever you want to put, fruit, herbs. And if you like something, like I'm really into color, maybe buy a special glass, a mug, or some kind of a container that's just for your water. Something that gives you pleasure to look at. For me, particularly, I like to be able to see the water in the fruit. I feel more connected with it. And also, you may be familiar with Dr. Emoto. He did a lot of studies on water and speaking to the water, how it affects the water. And he took toxic water from a particular dam in Japan, and he had monks bless it. And also he would speak to it. He did a test with 2 glasses of water where he would speak into the water and tell it, oh, you're beautiful, I love you, just really positive things. And the other glass of water, they would say things like, oh, I hate you, you're disgusting, just the worst things. And he did this over a period of time, and they also did this with rice. Now, the water, the crystals of the water changed. Like the water they spoke to lovingly had these beautiful geometric patterns and shapes, and where the water they spoke to harshly, it was just all distorted and nasty. And the rice, I think the rice that they spoke to lovingly lasted longer, where the other rice that they said bad things to, it started to mold and deteriorate much quicker. So, you know, when you're making your water, bless your water, speak to your water, tell it how much you love it. Thanks for hydration, thanks for life. And this is something else that would help. And again, I know some of these things, if you're not familiar, you haven't heard of them, may sound a little strange, but give it a try. I mean, I was at the end of my rope, and that's why I tried many of these things, and to my surprise, they work so well, and that's why I continue to do a lot of them today. Okay, and the next thing I have is journaling. Well, actually, you know what? Let me start with talking to someone you trust. It doesn't always have to be specifically about your problems. Just interaction in general is so helpful. And this was another thing for me. Like when I would get depressed, I would just shut off the world. I would shut everybody out. It's the last thing I wanted. But it was one of the best things for me, because when I was around someone I trusted and I was able to talk to, it made me feel so much better. But if this is something that you have a difficult time with, journaling, I'm putting some links below to this as well. Just writing it down, getting these feelings out. And if you're someone who likes to doodle, you know, the journal can be about so much more than just writing your experiences or how you feel. It's very therapeutic if you do some kind of art or doodle, or, you know, there's no judgment here, just whatever makes you feel good. And something else that goes along with this, again, this might seem a little strange, but think, well, maybe not everyone, but I think most of us, when we were children, we had our favorite toys, dolls or stuffed animals. And I think most of us would talk to these animals, these toys, whatever they were. And as an adult, this is something we stopped doing, that we hear, you know, grow up, you're not a kid anymore. But this is another tool that can be very helpful if you have, maybe it's like a little angel statue or a fairy statue, or maybe you still have some of your toys from childhood like I do. talk to the figurine, talk to the stuffed animal. The act of just getting this out, and it'll trigger something inside of you as well, remembering, you know, how much you loved and enjoyed this as a child. And you can do that as another way to release and get this out of your system. And I have 2 more left. If you're still with me, thank you for hanging in there. Doing something for someone, getting out of yourself. And this doesn't have to be, again, a major thing, because I know when we feel this bad and this low, we don't want to do anything. Like, I didn't even want to move. I wouldn't even leave my house. Things were so bad. I remember thinking, just out of morbid curiosity, you know, how much worse can it get? And please do not ever say that or think that, because it can always get worse. I wouldn't even leave my house and horrible things would still happen. But again, of course, I was drawing all of that to me because I was so negative and just not caring and giving up and allowing myself to be abused. You will always attract, or you can always attract worse than you think you can. So please don't go there. So doing something for someone, maybe you're visiting a friend and you notice they have dirty dishes. Like, this is something I used to do. I had a friend that would never do her dishes, which drove me crazy. But when I was over there, I would do her dishes and it would make me feel good. So it would help her, but by focusing, you're taking the focus off yourself. Maybe go to an animal shelter and do some volunteer work. I mean, being around animals is always so uplifting to me. And just seeing how those animals live, you know, your heart goes out to them. They don't have a home. And, you know, it just takes the focus off you and shows you how much, you know, if you're working at a home or helping the elderly, you know, it helps you have a new respect for life and appreciation. And the last thing, stay off social media. I remember once, or a while back, sometimes I would have issues with my computer before I learned how to do my own work. And I went a week without a computer once, and I was like, oh my God, it was the end of my world. And after 7 days, I started to get about halfway through the 7 days, I was like, wow, it felt good to not have that, to be, you know, attached and drawn to that, and my focus was elsewhere. And after the 7 days and fixing my computer, I got back on it, started checking my email and all this stuff. I didn't miss anything, nothing. I mean, if there's ever anything that important going on in the world, usually people are talking about it and you hear about it. But taking a break from social media, you know, because this can be very depressing, especially when we're already feeling that way. We're going to attract more of that. You know, maybe we would watch a movie that we wouldn't normally watch because we're feeling so bad, and it's just dark, depressing, and it brings us down even more. So those are all my tips. Most of those I still do. And if you have any questions about any of this stuff, feel free to ask or contact. So let's go ahead and get into the Reiki session. Also, through this Reiki session, I'm going to be using these soul healing activations. And normally when I use these cards, I randomly pull, but I specifically pulled certain ones today. So I have 3 for you that I will be showing, or actually, I'm sorry, 4 that I will be showing throughout the Reiki session. So calling in Reiki through time and space, all dimensions, realities, and timelines, past, present, and future. I allow myself to be the most powerful generator, conduit, and transmitter, giving you exactly what you require and desire, known and unknown. And if you would like to set an intention, please go ahead and do so now. And let's release that. Starting with our first activation. I enter the sacred solar mandala, receiving the 9 rays of blessings, bathing my entire multidimensional being in divine radiance. And here's the activation. And I'm going to be placing several stones at your feet for some heavy-duty grounding, working with this banded agate, also larvikite, and Apache tears, which is also very supportive emotionally. I have 2 tiger's eye palm stones, one for each hand. Starting with yellow jade. I know how much many of you love this stone, so bringing this in. And also zebra calcite. Hashana hanini ikita eskuta.
Hashani ikita eskutai. Henina eskataye. Hunaye. Support is here for you. Love is here for you. Hashanaye kiata eskuta. Hana akatui. Open and receive. Hashanaye kita eskuta. Hunahana. Etitai eshkuna. Hawiti. Hashanaye. Hanaye kita eshko. Open your heart.
The next mandala. Luminous grace and spiritual love awaken and emanate through me an delectable divine offering of hope and healing for all beings. Activation. Hashanini kita eshkuhuno, hanini kita ishahana kataye. My next 2 stones, we have this beautiful yellow calcite and this lovely septarian heart. I'm just going to circle your solar plexus area with this. Feeling the energy stimulating. Hushana hakati ish katahana, ukutu ish nahanaye, kita ishkuta. Just working this through your field. Kushanaye kitai ushkutu unukutu. Hashanaye kitai ishkutu. Awakening that solar plexus. Feeling it with love. Filling it with love and power. Reminding you all that you have is within you. Kushanikita eshkatahana akata.
Balance. You find balance between each sphere of life. You are the master of your daily life, and you are making time to nourish your spirit and physical being. You bring love to your world by fulfilling the needs of your body and soul.
Hashanaya kita ishkotakai. Ndu ishinte. Hankata ishkotohono. Etita ishkata.
Truth. You are being true to yourself. You are removing your mask and stopping to create any illusions. You have confidence in who you are, and you reveal the good to yourself. You do not need to hide or prove anything. You replace shame with the power of love and truth.
And the next soul activation. My soul radiates confidence and creative potency to accomplish my sacred purpose. I heal into joyfulness. Hashani kitai eshkunaha, enehetite eshka, unkutu unu utuititi, ashaha akatae.
An affirmation that I often like to repeat is, everything is working in my favor, even when it doesn't seem like it. I will keep believing. I will keep trusting the process. I will not be discouraged by circumstances or challenges. I am guided by faith and driven by hope. My vision is clear, and I am staying strong. Everywhere I go, I am prospering. Everything I do always works out for me. I am attracting unconditional love, abundance, clarity, incredible experiences, and sacred connections. I am thriving in every way. Things are becoming more clear for me. I am celebrating my life. Hashana hanini ekita eshkuna ha'akatae huna astisha hanina ekita hashahanaye hataye shkuta enehene ukutui astashanai huatita estishka.
And our last soul card activation, the wild grace of the unpredictable reveals new directions that I trust and recognize as the way for my happiness and divine fruition. Hushananai kita eshkuta hanoi, ahanaye, astashan katitai eshkuta, enehete ekuta.
You are feeling wonderful and positive. You are feeling refreshed and in perfect health and better than before. You are feeling wonderful and positive. You are feeling refreshed and in perfect health and better than before. You are pure, clear, and balanced. Hashani kitai shkutahatai. Estishanaha nutu ukutui. The powerful healing of eternal love is with you now and always. Divine consciousness fills your every cell. You are whole, healthy, vital, and at peace. You are pure, clear, and balanced.
Let's just finish up with a little aura spritz. Take a gentle breath in. Fluffing up that beautiful aura, plucking out any remaining residual residue or energy that is not serving you, helping you to feel lifted, abundant, blessed, awakened, powerful, and divine, because that's exactly what you are. You just needed to be reminded, just needed to be reconnected to that energy. Thank you so much for joining me today, everyone. I truly and deeply appreciate you so very much. I hope the work has helped you and lifted you up. I hope you were able to enjoy and receive all the benefits of the work. And until my next video, highest blessings and infinite gratitude. Sat Nam.